Hello everybody and good morning. Welcome to today's lesson. Every morning at 8:45 we begin a lesson dedicated to grammar. Grammar is very difficult. Grammar requires a lot of concentration and a lot of time to study and to read the grammar. So this is a very difficult lesson and it requires a lot of patience. I recommend that you prepare for this lesson by reading the grammar before this lesson. So the lesson is available on the internet on the British Council website, and I highly recommend that you prepare yourself for this lesson and every lesson by reading the page and reading the theory yourself first. This way it will help you during this lesson, because during this lesson I will explain best I can in relation to the topic and to do some exercises together. Also, it's a good opportunity if you have a question, if you have a comment about the specific grammar topic, you can ask me the question during this lesson or also after this lesson as well. So you can see the topic here is the continuous tenses, and in English generally we have the present continuous, we have the past continuous, and we have the future continuous. Most people might know how to create the continuous structure and the continuous tense. Basically, we have the subject, I, you, he, she, subject, plus the auxiliary verb, the extra auxiliary verb to be. For example, I am in the present, plus the ing form of the verb eating, drinking, sleeping. I am eating, I am drinking, I am sleeping, I am speaking. This is the present continuous structure, and we use this for a period of time in the present that is continuing. So that's the basic concept and construction of the present continuous. Also, we have the past continuous, and we change the auxiliary verb to be into the past form. I was eating, I was drinking, I was talking, and this is the past period when something continuous is happening. And the same for the future. We change the verb to be to will plus the ing. I will be eating, I will be going. So that basically is the explanation of the continuous tense, and I think it's quite basic, and I think most people understand this concept. But this is the topic for today's lesson. Maybe it's very easy for you, maybe it's very interesting for you. It depends on your level. But we will continue in relation to the curriculum, and day by day we will read some grammar. And again, some days it's boring, some days it's difficult, but I think it's important to follow the structure every day according to the curriculum, according to the book, more or less. Okay, so this is the topic, as you can see, for today. My schedule is here, and my schedule this week is practically the same compared to last week, and you can see all the lessons are available in the morning, also at 10:15 and 11:45 as well. So lots of different lessons, and I hope that you can join my lessons when you can. Contact. If you want to contact me on Instagram, this is my Instagram address. If you want to contact me on TikTok or to follow, you can connect on TikTok. YouTube channel is here. Pinterest is here. And if you have a question or a contact on WhatsApp, you are welcome to ask me a question or to contact me on WhatsApp with this telephone number as well. During this lesson, you are welcome to ask a question during this lesson with the Facebook chat. So basically, you put your comment here in the chat and you can ask me a question. You can say hello. You're welcome to interact, and I think it's a very good opportunity for everybody to interact and to chat with each other. And I will begin by writing hello everybody. Thank you for watching. So I think it's a very good opportunity for you to ask a question, to interact and maybe just to say hello. You are watching from a different part of the world. So that's a very good option and a very good part of today's lesson. My lessons are free. My lessons are completely free and they are for the public. My intention is to grow online and to grow more and more. That's my intention online, on Facebook, Instagram, all the channels. But I need support. Definitely, I need support. You are welcome to contribute and you're welcome to subscribe and support me. The information is in my Facebook page. But at the moment, I'm contacting businesses, I'm contacting companies that want to support me and to fund my project. And in return, I can advertise your company, I can advertise your business, I can advertise your school during this lesson in this window and explain to everybody all about your business. So that's a very good opportunity if you want to finance my project and fund and support my project. So hopefully that will be a good idea. And that is most of what I want to say for today. Also, finally, subtitles are available. So if you want to select the subtitles, just select the option on Facebook Live and you can see my words in the subtitles during this lesson. This is the page. The page is the British Council website and specifically it's the Learn English section of the British Council website. It's very, very good to learn grammar. It's maybe the most impressive website I have seen on the internet. It's really very, very good. It explains the theory very, very simply, very clearly, maybe intermediate, very good level, and it also has a lot of interactive exercises to do in relation to each topic. So it's a very, very good exercise. It's a very good page, and I highly recommend using this website to study your grammar. The second website is the Cambridge Grammar website, and the Cambridge Grammar website is also fantastic in relation to studying and a resource for grammar. So they are the two very good websites that I recommend and that I use. So today specifically we are on the topic of verbs, and for the last 2 weeks we have been discussing verbs, and today we move to the continuous aspect or the continuous tense. Okay, so we have the continuous tenses today, and this is the topic of today's lesson. I hope that you are well and that everything is good in Dublin. It's raining again this morning, so that is no surprise as well. So let's continue with this lesson and let me explain the theory first. So learn about continuous verb forms and do some exercises to practice them. Level intermediate. So we begin with level intermediate, and using the continuous aspect, this is basically the same as the present continuous. So the continuous aspect is the same grammatically as the present continuous. Okay, and we can see 3 or 4 different times, 3 or 4 different moments, descriptions to use the present continuous. They are very, very similar. This is the first explanation. When we use the present continuous, number 1, this is very similar to number 2, very similar to number 3, very similar to number 4, very similar to number 5, and very similar to number 6. Number 7, we have 7 different opportunities, 7 different times, 7 different reasons to use the present continuous. This is interesting, but I think most people probably understand how to use the present continuous anyway. Okay, so let's begin. We use the continuous, present continuous for something happening before and after a specific time. So before a specific time, and after a specific time, the same action, this is the continuous. The specific time could be in the present, the specific time could be in the past, the specific time could be in the future. So any moment in time, the continuous is the action before this moment and after this moment. Okay, and that is the concept of the continuous tenses in English. So here is an example. He is getting on the train. Remember, the construction, the formula for the continuous is the subject. I, you, he, she, we, you, they, the subject, plus the auxiliary verb to be is always necessary in the continuous. So the verb to be in the present, the verb to be in the past, or the verb to be in the future. In this particular case, the verb to be is in the present. The third part of the formula is the ing form of the verb, or the gerund form of the verb. And here is the gerund form, and getting is the final part of this formula. So he is getting is the present continuous. Okay, and getting is very flexible. The verb to get is very, very, very flexible. There's 4 or 5 different significances of the verb to get. In this situation, it is maybe moving or arriving, okay, physically, because get can be obtain, get can be become, get can be reach and arrive. So it's a very flexible verb, the verb to get. And in this situation, he is getting on the train is the significance that he is moving physically onto the train. So this action is before and after the moment of speaking. So you are speaking in this specific moment, and he is getting on the train before and after this moment, and that is the idea of the continuous. Next, it was 10:15. We were watching the news on television. So the first part of the sentence is the past simple. It was 10:15, and this is a specific moment in time. And we were watching the news on television before this moment and after this moment continuously. We were watching the news on television. The construction of the formula is the subject, the extra auxiliary verb to be, and the gerund or the ing, and specifically this formula is in the past. We were watching the news on television, and that is the past continuous aspect. Okay, the present would be we are watching the news on television, and the future would also be we will be watching the news on the television. So that is the idea of the continuous aspect or the continuous tense. So this is for something happening before and after a specific time when we use the continuous. Also, for something happening before or after another action. So first we have a specific time and something happening before the specific time and after the specific time. In this case, it's a specific action. So very, very, very similar, except it's an action and not the time. So here is the example. Mother will be cooking the dinner when we get home. The subject is mother. The auxiliary is the verb to be in the future form. And the ing, the gerund verb, is cooking. So will be cooking is the continuous aspect in the future. The dinner when we get home. Again, we have the verb to get, and to get in this case means arrive home. And this is the action in the future. So when you arrive home, this action, mother will be cooking before you arrive home and after you arrive home. So in this case, it's a specific action when you physically arrive, but also it's very similar to a specific time. So there's very little difference between this explanation and the first explanation, very similar. The second example, we were waiting for the bus when it started to rain. So two actions. The second action is starting to rain, and that's the past action. It started to rain here. This time, specific time, yes, but more specifically, a typical specific action. It started to rain, and the continuous aspect is for the activity happening before this moment, before this action, and after this action. The construction of the continuous in this case is the past continuous with the subject we, the verb to be in the past, plus the gerund or the ing form. We were waiting. That's the past continuous. Okay, so that is the second rule for something happening before and after another action. To get home, started to rain, which is very similar to the specific time, number one. Number three, we use the continuous for something continuing for some time, for a particular quantity of time. When something is continuing, we use the continuous aspect. And again, this is very, very similar to the previous two explanations. Very, very similar and almost the same. So let's look at the first example. Everybody will be waiting for us. This is continuing for some time. The subject is everybody. The auxiliary verb is the verb to be in the future form. Everybody will be, and the gerund or the ing form is waiting. So everybody will be waiting for us. Also, the verb to wait is very normal and very typical with the preposition for. Waiting for you, waiting for my friend, waiting for the bus, waiting for food, waiting for. That's the typical preposition combination, wait for. That's very, very important. So this is the future. And the idea here is it will be continuing for some time in the future. Everybody will be waiting for us. Okay, so that's number three. Remember, number two is before and after a specific action, and number one, before and after a specific time, and number three, for something continuing. And that's the idea of the continuous. Most people, I think, understand this. The next example is they had been working hard all day. This is a little more complex because the subject, no problem, the subject is they. The extra auxiliary verb is the verb to be. In this case, the verb to be is in the past perfect plus the ing or the gerund. They had been working hard is an adjective but also an adverb. And in this case, it is an adverb. They had been working hard all day. Okay, and that is the past perfect continuous aspect. But basically, the activity was continuing for some time. That's the definition. Something that's continuing for some time. Okay, the next description, the next rule is we use the continuous aspect for something happening again and again and again. So it's possible to use the continuous, present, past, future, to describe something that's happening again and again and again. So here is the example. They have been doing that every day this week. Subject, they. Auxiliary verb, to be. In the present perfect, they have been plus the ing. So this is the present perfect continuous. They have been doing that every day this week. This is something happening again and again and again and again. They have been doing it every day this week. Something again and again. Okay. Next, the children were always shouting. So the subject is the children. The auxiliary verb is the verb to be in the past plus the ing, the gerund, were shouting. Adverb, always, constantly, always shouting. And this is some action happening again and again and again. The children were always shouting in the past, again and again, frequently, regularly. Okay, so that's another definition of the continuous aspect when we use the continuous aspect. Very similar to the previous example for something happening for some time. So I think most people are clear, but there's 6 or 7 different perspectives here. And the next example, he will be practicing the piano every night. He will be practicing the piano every night. The subject is he. The auxiliary extra verb is the verb to be in the future. He will be. And the gerund or the ing form is practicing, and this is the future continuous. He will be practicing. Practice the object, practicing the piano. He will be practicing the piano every night. It's possible the verb practice with piano. It's also possible the verb to play. Play the piano, practice the piano. They're the same real significance. The translation error would be touch the piano. No, we don't touch the piano, because specifically in Spanish it's tocar piano. Tocar is to touch, but in English it's practice or play the piano every night. And this is an activity happening again and again and again every night. For example, every day, every night. Okay, so there's different ways to say this sentence is possible in the present simple. They practice the piano every night, so the present simple is also possible for a routine, something that happens again and again. So don't worry too much about the definitions here. Don't worry really, because I think most people understand the idea in general of the continuous. The next idea, the next perspective is we use the continuous for something temporary. So if something is temporary, it's typical to create and to use the continuous tenses. So for example, we are renting an apartment until our house is ready. The subject is we. The auxiliary and the extra verb is the verb to be. And the ing, the gerund form, is renting. So we are renting is the present continuous. An apartment until our house is ready. So this is considered temporary, because in the future you will buy the house. You will live in the house that you are paying for. Okay, the next example, he was working in a garage during the vacation. Subject he, extra, auxiliary, verb necessary for the construction of the continuous is the verb to be in the past. He was, plus the ing, the gerund form, working. He was working. This is the past continuous in the garage during the vacation, so only temporary. Okay. The past simple is also possible here. He worked in the garage during the vacation, and the present simple maybe is possible. We rent this apartment until our house is ready. So again, don't worry too much about this explanation and these perspectives, because they're not very strict in spoken English. Next, we use the continuous aspect for something new. Okay, and here is the first example. We have moved from Birmingham. The subject is we. The extra auxiliary verb is to have, plus the participle moved. This is the present perfect. We have moved from Birmingham, and we now are living in Manchester. Something new. At this moment, we are living in Manchester. And again, it's just a present continuous. It's very similar to the present simple. So don't stress, don't worry too much. Just the construction. Subject we, the verb to be in the auxiliary, in the present we are, plus the gerund, the ing, living in Manchester now. The next example. He had left university and was working in his father's business. So this is something new, and working in the business is new. So again, he had left is the past perfect. He had left university and was working in his father's business. That was the past continuous. To create the continuous in the past, we need the auxiliary verb to be plus the ing, the gerund form. He was working in his father's business. Okay, the next perspective, the next description of when we use the continuous is here. To describe something changing or developing. So again, a lot of explanations, a lot of different perspectives, but this is the final perspective. We use the continuous to describe something changing or developing. So for example, everything is the subject, has been getting, very difficult. So first we have the verb to have plus the verb to be plus the verb to get. We have three individual verbs. So we must identify what is happening. We have the verb to have plus the verb to be, and this is the formula for the perfect. Specifically, it's the present perfect, has been, present perfect. Getting is the gerund, and when you have the gerund plus the verb to be, this is the continuous form. Yes, the verb to be is in the perfect tense, but it's still the verb to be in the auxiliary. So everything has been getting more difficult. The significance of get here is become. Remember, get tired, get hungry, get difficult is to become, transform, convert, become more difficult. Okay, and this is something that is changing or developing. It's becoming. Next example, he was growing more bad-tempered every day. Bad-tempered is the adjective, somebody who is very angry and has a bad temper. And something that's changing or developing with the verb to grow. Again, getting is similar here. It's possible he was getting, he was becoming, very, very similar. Here we have the subject, he, plus the auxiliary, extra verb to be, necessary in the construction of the continuous, plus the verb to grow in the gerund. So he was growing more bad-tempered every day. Okay, so 7 different explanations when we use the continuous. 7 different perspectives grammatically. Very heavy, always very difficult to read grammar, very difficult, because you need to know if it's very important, if it's very strict, or if it's not so strict. This lesson today is not very strict, especially in spoken English. I think most people understand more or less the concept of the continuous, and the 7 different categories are very interesting, but new to me as well. So let's review. Finally, to describe something changing or developing. To describe something new, we use the continuous. To describe something temporary, we also can use the continuous tenses. To describe something happening again and again and again, we can also use the continuous aspect. To describe something continuing for a long time or for a particular time, we can use the continuous. And to describe something happening before or after another action is also a description of when we use the continuous. And the first description is for something happening before and after a specific time. Okay, and that is level intermediate, more or less, and that is all the theory related to the continuous. Very good, well done, because it's difficult to study. It's definitely difficult to study and to learn the grammar because it's very heavy. But now it's the opportunity to practice some exercises. So let us select the first exercise, and the question is, why do we use the continuous aspect in the sentences? So the question is, why do we use the continuous aspect in the sentences? Match the reasons with the sentences. So match the reasons with the sentences, and here you can see, because it's something new, something temporary, something happening again and again, something happening before and after another action, something changing or developing, something happening before and after a specific time. So here we have the 7 different perspectives, the 7 different descriptions of using the continuous, and we must try to identify the sentence that is appropriate for each description. I will have difficulty, I think, with this, So let me show you. Here is the first example, and I think options 1 are here. Yes, so I have the options here beside me, and we can select the correct option when we want. Okay, first, questions. Do you have any questions? Do you have any comments in relation to the explanation? Do you have any comments in relation to the lesson? So let me check the comments and see if we have anything. So good morning, crew ma'am, and thank you for attending, and thank you for your comment as well. So everybody, you're welcome to leave your question or your comment during the lesson. At 3 o'clock, okay, sorry, I lost my notes. So options 1, one moment. There we go. Okay, so at 3 o'clock this morning, I was sitting in a taxi on the way to the airport. So what is the correct category for this option? At 3 o'clock this morning, I was sitting in a taxi on the way to the airport. Is this something new? No, I don't think so. First, specific time at 3 o'clock. Also, the continuous is I was sitting. This is the subject, I, the verb to be in the past, plus the gerund, to sit. I was sitting is the past continuous. In a taxi on the way to the airport. Is this something new? No. Something temporary? Maybe, because you're temporary in the taxi. So it's debatable, and this is the reason I'm not very happy with this criteria, because a lot of the criteria is debatable and flexible. Something temporary? Probably not. Something happening again and again? No, because it's unique. I think it's a unique moment. Something happening before and after another action? No, there's only one action in this sentence. There's only one action, and the action is sitting in the taxi, moving to the airport. So I think that's just one action. Something changing or developing. Is this changing or developing? Not really, because it's in the one direction. And something happening before and after a specific time. Yes, the specific time is 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock this morning, I was sitting in the taxi before and after this particular moment. So I think clearly the last option is something happening before and after a specific time. Next, the number of the world's people living in cities is getting bigger and bigger all the time. So the number of the world's people is the subject. Living is an activity or an action in cities is getting. This is the present continuous. The auxiliary verb to be plus the ing gerund getting is getting, with the significance becoming. So remember, becoming is like transforming and developing and growing and changing, bigger and bigger all the time. So what do you think? Is this something new? Maybe. Yes, maybe, because the number is new. Is it something temporary? No, because it's continuing for a long time, this process of growth. Something happening again and again? No, it's independent. Something happening before and after another action? No, there's only one action really here. Something changing or developing? Yes, this is definitely in the context of something changing, the population changing and the population developing as well. So I think that's the strongest answer at the moment. Something happening before and after a specific time? No. So I think clearly it's something changing or developing, and let us select the correct answer, I hope, and that should be okay. Next, where on earth are my glasses? So I have no idea where my glasses are. Where on earth? I don't know are my glasses. I'm always losing them. The subject is I, the verb is to be in the auxiliary plus the gerund, and this is the formula to create the continuous, and it's the present continuous. The adverb is always, constantly, regularly, normally losing them. Them is the object pronoun substitution for the glasses. Okay, so what is the situation here? Is this something new? No, because you're always doing it. Is it something temporary? No, because you do it regularly. Is it something happening again and again? Yes, because of the word always, happening again and again and again. So this is definitely a possibility. Something happening before and after another action? No. Something changing or developing? No. And something happening before or after a specific time? No. So I think the clear answer is something happening again and again and again, something repetitive. And my opinion is this is the correct answer, something happening again and again. Next question, comment. More than 100 people were working in the building when the earthquake struck. The verb is to strike, to impact, and the past is irregular, struck, strike, struck. And the sentence is more than 100 people is the subject, were working is the continuous aspect. We have the auxiliary to be in the past plus the gerund, the ing, working in the building when the earthquake struck. So there's two actions, working in the building and the earthquake impacting and striking. So for me, I think this is two different actions. Something new, well, maybe, because the earthquake is new, maybe. Something temporary, maybe, because they are working temporarily or the earthquake is temporary. Something happening again and again, no. Something happening before and after another action, yes. So when the people were working, the earthquake struck when the people were working. So I think this could be something happening before another action. Something changing or developing, not exactly. And something happening before and after a specific time, maybe, but it's more a specific action, not specific time. So again, I think the correct answer here is, we can see, something happening before and after another action, I think. What do you think? And it's a good opportunity for you to put the answers in the comments during this lesson, because it's better to be interactive if possible. Next, we are staying at the Clementine Hotel, the Hotel Clementine near the town square. The subject is we. The verb is to be plus to stay. The verb to be is in the present. Auxiliary plus the verb to stay is the gerund, the ing. So this is the present continuous at the Hotel Clementine near the town square. Is this something new? Maybe. Is it something temporary? Yes, because you stay temporarily in the hotel generally. So I think this is close to this answer, something temporary. Something again and again, no. Something happening, no. Something changing, no. Something happening, no. Okay, so I think clearly this is something temporary, in my opinion. So let's select the correct answer, something temporary. And the final answer is something new. So I have given up maths. Now I'm studying for a degree in economics instead. So first, we have the phrasal verb to give up, means to quit. Give up cigarettes, give up coffee, give up chocolate. And this means to quit. And this is the present perfect with the verb to have plus the participle given. The present perfect. I have quit maths. I have given up maths. Now, at this moment, I am studying. Present continuous, subject, verb to be, plus the gerund. I am studying for a degree in economics instead. This is the present continuous, and this represents something new. A change, yes. So specifically, something new. Interesting. So here we can see the seven different perspectives of using the continuous aspect. And I think we did a good effort. I think we tried our best. We could have mistakes, but let us check the answers now, and everything is good. 6 from 6. Okay, fantastic. Now let's continue to the next idea. Questions. If you have a question or a comment, please put your comment here. I don't see anything at the moment, and that is okay. So let us continue to using the continuous aspect with the perfect aspect. Already we have seen a little samples and a little examples related to the continuous plus the perfect. Had been going, had been eating, have been watching. So we have already seen a couple of examples using the perfect plus the continuous, and this is more or less the same. So first question, how long, for how much time, how long have you been sitting there? So this is a question. There is the specific location, and the question is how long, how much time. And remember, the affirmative, you have been, is the affirmative. You have been sitting is the present perfect continuous. You have been sitting. And to create the question, we change the position of the subject, you, plus the auxiliary verb, have. Therefore, have you been sitting there is the question, and how long is the question word. So that is the perfect, present perfect, continuous in the question form. Very advanced, but very good. Next, I don't know how long she had been learning Spanish. Subject, I. Verb in the negative, I don't know. How long, she is the subject. Had been learning Spanish is the past perfect, had been, plus the continuous aspect, had been learning Spanish. So that is the continuous aspect with the perfect, and already we had seen some examples related to this. Next, the continuous aspect with modal verbs. So it's possible to use the continuous aspects, the continuous tenses with modal verbs. For example, your friends will be looking for you. The typical preposition with look is look for food, look for accommodation, look for a hotel, look for something, look for preposition. And the verb is to be. In the future tense, will be, plus the gerund, the ing. So your friends will be looking for you. This is a modal because the verb will generally is considered the future, but also a modal. So will here is the modal. Next example with the modal, they, subject, the people, they might be playing tennis. So the modal is might, which is the same as could, may. They might be, they may be, they could be playing tennis. It's a possibility. This is a possibility that they might be playing tennis. Okay, so this is the modal with the continuous aspect. It's also possible, the continuous aspect, with both a modal and the perfect aspect. So both the modal and the perfect are possible in the continuous aspect. Here is it's a bit difficult. So you should have been driving more carefully. Very fluent, very advanced, very good quality English. But the subject is you. The modal is should for advice and recommendation. Typical for advice and recommendation, we use the modal should. The perfect is have been, present perfect, have been, you should have been, plus the continuous. So this is incredible, and this is very important in relation to learning grammar. And this is considered the subject, the modal, the perfect, and the gerund, continuous. So very advanced and very good quality. And the adverb is carefully. Comparative, adverb more carefully. The final example, soon we will have been living here for 25 years. So subject is we, The modal is will. The perfect is have been, and the continuous is living. So soon we will have been living here for 25 years. Very interesting structures with the modal, the perfect, and the continuous aspect. Now let us try the exercises. Okay, and the job is to match the sentences, just to match the sentences. And we have I might be going on a business trip. They will be having dinner. We had been waiting for well over an hour. You should have been driving more carefully. He has been living in Berlin for many years. They must have been planning it for a long time. And you can see the options here. And the questions are here as we can see. So the first question, Robert speaks excellent German. This is the present. Robert speaks excellent German. What is the sentence that matches perfectly with this sentence in the context? I might be going on a business trip, no connection. They will be having dinner, no connection. We had been waiting, no connection. You should have been driving more carefully, no connection. He has been living in Berlin for many years. This is the subject plus the verb to have plus the participle being the present perfect plus the continuous. He has been living in Berlin for many, many years, I think is the correct answer. So let's select that. Next, by the time the waiter brought, irregular, bring, brought, in the past, brought our food, we were starving. Starving is a very good adjective to say you are very, very hungry. You are starving, you are very hungry. So what is the correct sentence for this context? I might be going on a business trip. No. They are having dinner. No. We've been waiting for well over an hour. Yes, because you were very, very hungry, because you were waiting for a long time. And I think that is the correct answer immediately. So because you were waiting, here we have the subject, we, the perfect in the past had been, the continuous aspect waiting. We had been waiting for well over an hour. It means more than an hour. So let's select that answer. Next question. Don't call them. Here, there is no subject. In English, it's possible to create the sentence with no subject, only usually in the imperative tense. And the imperative is an order or an instruction. And this is an order, it's an instruction. So don't call them. What do you think is... this is difficult. I don't see the connection immediately myself. I might be going on a business trip. They will be having dinner. Okay, so that is the answer. I think they will be having dinner. So there is no point to call them because they will not answer the phone because they are eating. So don't call them now. They will be having dinner, I think is the best. The other options are not really appropriate. So let's select that answer. They will be having dinner. Okay. Next, I am not sure I can meet you next week. I have a doubt. I am not sure. It's uncertain if I can meet you next week. Because the possibility I might be going on a business trip. So I'm not sure if I can meet you next week. That fits and matches perfectly. The other options, dinner, waiting, driving, Berlin, no, planning. So the first one is definitely the possibility that you may, you could, you might be going on a business trip next week. Next, it was a really careless accident. So an accident that caused a bad accident that did not have the required concentration or attention, and this is the reason for the accident because there was no attention, there was no care. So it was a really careless accident. And the context, you should have been driving more carefully because you had no care. You can see the direct connection, careless and carefully. Okay, so I think that's the best answer. You should have been driving more carefully, I think. I hope you have the same answers. And the final answer, the robbery was very well organized. So the robbery is the substantive and the adjective is organized, and the robbery in the past was very well organized. They must have been planning it for a long time. So that is the answer. I think they must have. This is the modal, must, plus the perfect, have been in the present perfect, plus the continuous, for a long time. Okay, let's select the answers. And of course, we might have some mistakes, but we select the answers and everything is good. Okay, well done. So that is the exercise for today. Now let's continue, and we can see this final instruction. We do not normally use the continuous aspect with stative verbs. So what is a stative verb? A stative verb is such as understand, need, and like. That's very grammatical, but there is a category of verbs in English known as stative verbs, and I recommend you try to research what is a stative verb. But I think here understand is a stative verb, need is a stative verb, and like is a stative verb. In these cases, it's not normal to use the continuous. We use the simple, and remember the simple is very similar, but in these particular verbs we generally use the simple. For example, I don't understand you is better, more typical than I am not understanding you in the continuous. So this is more typical. When we have the verb understand, we typically use the simple, present simple. Next, when I got home, when I arrived home, I really needed a shower. So this is the past simple and not the continuous. Okay, so not needing. And finally, I have always liked is the present, present perfect, and not the continuous because it's the verb to like. So the verb to like, to need, and to understand are a little special in relation to not using the continuous. Excellent, that's a very good lesson today. And remember, we had a lot of different rules. We can use the continuous with modal and perfect. We can use the continuous with modal verbs. We can use continuous with the perfect verbs as well. We can also use the continuous to describe something changing or developing. We can use the continuous to describe something new. We can use the continuous aspects and tenses for something temporary. For example, I am staying in a hotel. We can use it for something happening again and again. He is always losing his phone, again and again. For something continuing for some time. Okay, and you can see the example. And also something happening before and after another action, or something happening before and after a specific time. Okay, so that is generally the rules in relation to the continuous aspect, and a very, very good lesson in relation to this. Boring, yes. Grammar sometimes is boring, but it's necessary, I think, to follow the criteria, to follow the curriculum. And the curriculum here on the British Council Grammar Learn English page is here. And already previously we have studied verb phrases, irregular verbs, questions and negatives, short forms, the verb to be, the present, the past, the perfect, and today it was the continuous. Tomorrow we continue with the modal verbs explanation, and this will be very interesting. So if you want, I recommend that you study this page yourself in advance of tomorrow's lesson. This will help you more and more, and my video hopefully will just give you assistance and give you support, and that is the way to really improve, I think. So first you study this page yourself, and tomorrow we can discuss and I can try to explain my perspective of this topic as well, because modal verbs are very important. Great, that's everything for today. Thank you so much. If you have a question, please put your question here. I don't see any questions, so that's fine. I will just put a comment here for myself. Thank you everybody for watching. And if you have a comment now, please put your comment in the chat for me to see as well if you want. Remember, my schedule, this is my schedule for the week. It's the same as last week, and you can see all this information on my Facebook page as well. Contact, if you want to contact me on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Pinterest, or WhatsApp, they're all available if you want. And everything is free. So everything is free, but if you want to support me, you can make a subscription to me with the bank details or PayPal if you want to support me. And also, I'm looking for a business, I'm looking for a company or a school to fund, to finance my project and support me. And in return, I can promote your business during these lessons as well. Brilliant. So thank you so much. I hope that you have a good day, and I hope that you have a good Monday and a good week as well. Thank you for your time. There's the contact information again. I hope that you enjoyed the lesson and hopefully talk to you soon. Thank you so much and have a good day. Bye bye.